Hello, and welcome to the Town of Yountville's multi-video series, Stay Charged: Tech Tips for Emergencies. This series will seek to educate viewers on the multiple types of utility outages they may face and how they can prepare for them. In the modern era, we've grown increasingly dependent on technology to help us manage our day-to-day lives. Any type of disruption to those services can have a significant impact on our quality of life. Today, we are going to begin looking into solutions that will help us mitigate those impacts. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the types of outages that we might encounter and the services they will affect. We will then take a look at and start thinking about how those disruptions could impact us. Lastly, in today's video, we're going to look at some devices that might help us bridge that gap. In subsequent videos, we will look at how we might prepare our devices and the data that lives on them for such outages. It is important to note that while the scope of this video focuses primarily on utility-caused service disruptions and mitigating their impact, a service disruption can occur for many reasons, such as natural disasters, car accidents, or wildfires, and that no matter the cause of the disruption, these tips and ideas can be used in all sorts of emergency situations. So let's get started. The first thing we have to know are the main types of outages that you might encounter. The first and most common outage for our area is a power outage. The electricity is out, and refrigerators, air conditioners, TVs, and possibly internet will not work. The next most common type of outage would be a traditional internet outage. Comcast or AT&T would be out. You might still have a Wi-Fi signal and can connect to your wireless network, but cannot reach the internet. A less prevalent type of outage would be a cellular service outage. Cellular is out, but traditional internet like Comcast or AT&T are still working. Cellular calling and data will be affected. Lastly, and the least common type of outage, would be a natural gas outage. During this outage, we would not have access to hot water, a furnace or heater, and maybe even a stove or oven that would not be able to light. It is important to note that while we have identified the outage types independently, one type of outage may affect another. For instance, if your power goes down, your modem might not have a battery backup, and that would bring your internet down too. Now that we have identified the main types of outages, let's start enhancing our preparedness by identifying the items or tasks in our household that might require the service that has been disrupted. If we can identify the things we need, then we are one step closer to providing redundancy for those needs. If your cell phone dies and electricity is out, so it cannot be recharged, do you have a daily check-in call with loved ones or neighbors? Will they become worried if that call is missed? Do you need to keep medicine cold? Do you refrigerate insulin or Enbrel? Do you use a CPAP machine to sleep at night? Are you storing perishable items in a refrigerator that you don't want to go bad? Do you have a second story and need lights to go up and down stairs? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, then here are some devices and actions that might be able to help you bridge that gap in electricity. Power banks, solar chargers, power stations, flashlights, and crank radios might be the solution to your problem. Let's take a look at some of these items. These top two items are power stations. The device is a rechargeable battery that has a 110-volt outlet that can supply 100 watts, and it also has USB ports. With this device, you could easily plug a TV, a CPAP, or any other low-wattage electrical device into the outlet. These devices come in many different strengths, and some even have the ability to run full-size refrigerators for many hours. The next item is a solar panel for a solar generator. Solar panels can use adapters to plug into power stations, power banks, and even cell phones and tablets, using the energy of the sun on a clear day to charge our devices back up to full. The next item on the lower left-hand side is a power bank. This device is normally used to recharge a device that gets its power via USB, so a phone or tablet, or maybe even a rechargeable flashlight. The one pictured comes with a handy light already built in. The last image on the lower right is a crank radio. This device gets its power from a small crank on the back that can be spun. The spinning of the crank generates an electrical charge that can be stored inside a battery inside the radio. This gives us access to a light and a radio to get updates from local agencies. All of these devices can be found at your local hardware store or purchased over the internet. The last idea that we would like to talk about today is staying safe during an outage and identifying items in our house that could affect our safety during that outage. Do your security systems, whether it's ADT, Xfinity, SimpliSafe, or Vivint, have battery backups and a cellular connection so they can continue to work in an outage? Can your security gates be manually operated? If not, do they have a battery or solar backup? If there is no battery backup, are they set to fail open in the event of a power loss? When a device like a security gate is configured to fail open, it means that when the device loses power, it will automatically open. Can you manually operate your garage door? These are just a few of the things that we need to identify in our household that might become a problem if we lose power. This concludes today's video. I hope we have given you some things to think about and help you be more prepared for future outages. Please join us next week for more discussion on preparing ourselves and our technology for service disruptions.